Let me show you how to quickly and easily convert percents to fractions. Let's look at this first example, 37%. Percentage is based on a total of 100. Fractions, the denominator tells you how many total parts make a whole. So we represent the percent sign in the denominator as 100. Look at this. There's a line here, like the 1 in 100, and 2 zeros. So we represent the percentage sign in the denominator with 100 because percentage is based on a total of 100. And the denominator of the fraction tells you how much makes one whole. We write whatever number is in front of the percentage sign as our numerator. So whatever number is in front of the percentage sign is the numerator, and the percentage symbol is represented in the denominator as 100. Let's look at the second example, 51%. We write whatever is in front of the percentage sign as our numerator, and we represent the percentage sign as our denominator by writing 100. Let's look at the next example, negative 89%. I don't care what's in front of the percentage sign, write that as your numerator and represent the percentage sign in the denominator as the number 100 because percentage is based on a total of 100 parts and the denominator of fractions tells you how many you need to make one whole. Now, I could have left the negative here by the 89 or down here by the 100, but there's no need to do that. I can just set it right outside of the fraction. Let's look at the next example, 100%. I write whatever is in front of the percentage sign as the numerator, and I represent the percentage sign in the denominator as 100. Remember, fractions are division problems. The top number, the numerator, is being divided by the bottom number, the denominator. So 100 divided by 100 equals 1. Anything divided by itself equals 1. So 100% means I have the whole thing, one whole. 9%. I write 9 as my numerator, and I represent the percentage sign as 100 in the denominator. Let's look at this example, 123%. I write 123 as my numerator, and I represent the percentage sign by writing 100 in the denominator. I have more than one whole. I have 23 parts more than one whole. Now let's look at some examples that have decimals. I write exactly what I see in front of the percentage sign as my numerator. I represent the percentage sign as 100 in the denominator. The problem is I cannot leave decimal points in fractions. So I need to get rid of this decimal point. And the way I do that is by moving it to the right 2 spaces behind the 7. Anything in front of a decimal point is a whole number. So if I move it 2 spaces to the right and there's nothing after it, my answer is just 7. Because when I move the decimal point 2 places, that leaves 7 in the ones column, 0 in the tens column, and 0 in the hundreds column. So zeros are just holding blank spaces, so I don't need to write them. And I don't need to put the decimal point either because there's nothing after it. So I just have the whole number 7. However, whatever I do to the numerator, I must do to the denominator. If I do something to the denominator, I must do it to the numerator. Here I needed to move the decimal point 2 spaces. So I must do the same thing in the denominator. So I must move the decimal point in 100 over 2 spaces. But there is no decimal point written when I write 100 in the denominator. But the decimal point is invisible. After every whole number is a decimal point. To the far right of any whole number is a decimal point. We do not write it if nothing comes after the decimal point. So that's why we didn't have a decimal point written there, but it is there. So I can write it there, put 2 zeros next to it, because I'm not adding anything to this number. I'm putting 0 in the tenths column, 0 in the hundredths column. I'm not changing the number. I'm just holding that space with a 0. So now I'm going to move the decimal point over 2 spaces, and now my number is 10,000. The decimal point would be sitting here and there's nothing after it, so I don't need to write the decimal point at that point. My number is going to be 10,000. So 7 over 10,000 is the same as 0.07%. Let's look at this last example, 15.3%. I write 15.3 as my numerator. I write 100 in the denominator to represent this percentage sign. I cannot leave a decimal point in a fraction, so I must move this decimal point to the right 1 space, and then I have the number 153. Whatever I do to the numerator, I must do to the denominator. The decimal point is to the far right of any whole number. So it's right there after the last 0 in 100. I need to add a 0 to hold the 10th space so that I can move the decimal point over 1 space. And now my number in the denominator is 1,000. So 153 over 1,000 is the same as 15.3%. I hope this lesson was helpful. Please check out my video on converting fractions to percents. Have a great day. Bye-bye.